Good evening on this 17th day of February 2016 from wherever you are watching us across this region. Welcome to Bottomline East Africa. I'm Yvonne Okwara Matole. It's a little bit under 12 hours for the polls in Uganda to open and the Ugandans to decide who will be their next leaders, not just at the presidential level, but right down to the grassroots. What will it be like? We will be giving you all the details of that. We have Ben Kitili as well as Solomon Serwanja, all of whom are in Uganda. We have analysis as well as just letting you know who's in the running and a little bit about them. We'll be telling you about that, as well as another interesting report, not just on trends, Africa construction trends within East Africa, but we'll be taking a look at what that means continent-wide, and indeed what it means for economic development of the region as well. We'll be having a conversation on that. You don't want to miss that, so please do stay with us for that. And the day's top stories, here they are. All set for Uganda's election to kick off in a few hours' time. Why the incumbent president plays a central role in Uganda's politics. A look at the profiles of the top presidential contenders in Uganda. Polling stations are set to open in a few hours in Uganda as the country votes for new leaders. The electoral body earlier today warned of a possible ploy to discredit the electoral process by players in the presidential race. This is according to Badru Chigundu, the electoral chairman, who has disclosed alleged plans to print fake ballot papers in a bid to display them to expose purported rigging plans. The commission is in turn assuring the Ugandan public that all ballot papers are safe. This comes in the wake of accusations from the opposition of possible rigging. Also addressing the press at the Electoral Commission headquarters in Kampala was Security Boss General Kale Kaihura, who has given the assurance of security with the deployment of undercover and overt police personnel. The electoral body had also raised concerns over plans by various political leaders in the race to deploy their own vigilante groups to polling stations. Kaihura has reaffirmed the security forces' commitment to protect Ugandans through the electoral process.
The Commission has noted allegations of pre-ticked ballots. We talk about disrupting or disturbing the electoral management. All this innuendo, well, we are learning to be part of it. Apparently, there are even plans to print similar ballot papers, or seemingly similar, and pre-tick them and parade them before the media to discredit the electoral process. The Commission would like to assure the public that all our ballots are safe and in safe custody and have special features that can distinguish them from the fake ones, but we can't disclose those features. Security has been notified of these ill plans and asked to investigate and arrest whoever is caught in the act, have him or her prosecuted in line with the law. The Electoral Commission has continued to receive information that some political leaders, as well as individuals contesting for various elective positions, are still planning to form security groups known as youth brigades, vigilantes, militias. The Commission wishes to reiterate that it is only the Ugandan police which is in charge of providing security during polling.
In spite of, this here and there propaganda that, some people trying to say, if you go to vote, we shall harm you. I just want to assure you that we are deploying and both overtly, but also to look for those who are trying to bully, the bullies who are trying to scare people not to go to vote. Everybody should go and vote, exercise their vote. We shall secure you. We have security and crime challenges. I could just highlight just a few, and especially tonight, which the chairman calls the devil's night. Under the cover of darkness, a lot of things happen. People are so desperate to do last-minute influence of the of the voters, and they do wrong things. Basically, voter bribery. Voter bribery is always the challenge that we face on Devil's Night, and we hope that we have put in place measures, maybe not foolproof, but at least we shall try our best.
All right, so let's talk a little bit more about this. And I'm joined on phone from Kampala by Charles Njoroge, who's the Deputy Secretary General of the EAC, that's the East African Community. And of course, they'll be having an observer mission there. In fact, they're already in place. Charles, good evening, and thanks for making the time to be with us on Bottomline East Africa tonight. I'd like to get a sense from you, the observations on the ground of the preps for the elections so far.
Yeah, thank you very much. We have been on the ground since the beginning of this month. We had a technical team which was coming to look at all the arrangements. So far, we are on the ground. We did deploy our teams last Friday to all over Uganda. We have about 18 teams, and already they're on the ground. And as far as we have received the reports, because we're receiving them on hourly basis, all is well, and the systems are ready to go.
Right. So would you then say that everything is in place? We've heard today from the police, from the security authorities, as well as from the Electoral Commission. Are you satisfied with what you're seeing so far, the statements and what appears on the ground?
Yes, we are satisfied because, one, we have been able to talk to the Electoral Commission. We did hold a meeting with them. We have also held a meeting with the security officials in terms of preparations of the system which are in place. We have sent, like I said, our teams on the ground all over Kampala, between 2 and 3 persons. They'll be able to cover a number of polling stations. And so far, the ballot papers have been distributed. And as far as we are concerned, given that the reports we have is that there are no chaos. The country is peaceful. Tomorrow we are ready to go and check on the opening of the polling stations, and also to ensure that also we visit a number of polling stations, given that we have covered the entire country.
All right, Charles, you say all is peaceful and you're satisfied. However, we did hear of and see the violence that took place earlier this week when one of the presidential candidates, Kizza Besigye, was arrested, and there was chaos in town and heavy military presence within the capital, Kampala. We've also heard of others allied to Amama Mbabazi. I'd just like your comment then on a lot of these issues that have come up in the past, including alleged voter intimidation, radio station poverty alleviation. In fact, she left this job. I was paying her about 300 million Uganda shillings to run in this election. Now, she only joined the election after her mother, Irene Wekia, lost in an NRM primary to Navirie, and then she got herself into the race. She would like to change the face of healthcare and reduce child mortality in the country. Have we gone through all of the candidates? We have a few more to go. Abed Bwanika, he's running for the 3rd time on a People's Development Party. He stands for a united Uganda, equitable wealth distribution, and broad popular participation. That is him there. I think we've gone through all of them, or have we? Yeah, all right. So these are the candidates that will be vying for that seat. Let's take a look at the final one there. If we can take a look at the final one. Joseph Mabirizi is running as an independent candidate, and he's promising to end bribery and corruption in that country. These are the ones who are seeking for the votes in Uganda. We will see 15 million registered voters. Of course, a lot about voter apathy. We will wait to see the voter turnout in this election. Now, Analysts expect incumbent Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni to win the re-election in Thursday's presidential vote. His rivals have accused his administration of corruption, unemployment and a lack of healthcare in the country. Our news editor, Lillian Odera, reports on the Museveni factor and why he remains a dominant figure in Uganda's politics.
Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, aged 71, has ruled Uganda for 30 years and is widely expected to win the 2016 election, although analysts say it's his toughest political contest yet. His two main challengers, Kizza Besigye, a popular opposition figure, and Amama Mbabazi, his former prime minister, have both been drawing huge crowds during the campaign. Nicholas Sengomba, a political analyst based in Kampala, says it's always very difficult to dislodge an incumbent president, especially in Africa, due to the influence they hold. He adds that there are those who love the incumbent due to the wealth they have accumulated, while there are those who hate them, as they always feel oppressed.
The African election, especially when you have an incumbent who has been in power for 30 years, the election that you have is a glorified ritual, to simply confirm, or it's something that simply happens after 5 years. Because one, when you have somebody who has been in power 30 years like Museveni, almost everybody in the country, you'll find people who are grateful to him for the wealth they've made and their fortunes. You'll find people who have risen from almost nothing to where they are because of him. In this sort of setup, the president has a very huge hold on public finance.
Museveni is credited with restoring economic and political stability after years of turmoil in the 1970s and 1980s. Critics say unemployment, especially among youths, has surged under his rule. They also accuse him of failing to tame rampant corruption. The leading challenger to Museveni, Kizza Besigye, says he had no confidence that Thursday's election would be free and fair.
In all the elections we've had, you've had that 20–30% of the people who have not voted for the president, So the election will always take place, and you hear the opposition leaders saying it very, very clearly that we are going to win this election in spite of the bias of the Electoral Commission. There's so many things that work against them, so many. But politics is always about hope, and you've seen very many African countries, Senegal, Zambia, Malawi. You'll always have that aberration, once in a while. But on the ground, many of the factors stand against anybody who's contesting against an incumbent.
Besigye lost 3 times against Museveni, although his Forum for Democratic Change (FDC) party and government critics have often blamed rigging, violence by security forces, and illegal use of state funds for his losses. Museveni has held the presidency for the last 30 years after he was involved in rebellions that toppled Idi Amin in the 70s and Milton Obote in early 80s.
Whoever comes after Museveni, if Museveni wins this election, will be somebody, if it's not himself, it will be somebody who thinks like him, who has his blessing, and who will try his or her level best to perpetuate whatever he has put in place. So you still have Museveni around, whether in the shadow or right at the forefront.
Museveni is currently facing a serious challenge to his presidency, where his main challenger is his former personal doctor, Kizza Besigye, who has tried to dislodge him from the presidency for the last 3 elections, and his close ally, Amama Mbabazi. The election is expected to be one of the toughest yet for Museveni, a key ally of the West who came to power after waging a 5-year guerrilla war in the 1980s.
Throughout the campaign period, President Yoweri Museveni has not lost an opportunity to talk about his 30-year rule and the track record that comes with it. Analysts, however, say that Museveni, who is East Africa's longest-serving president, will remain in the picture for much longer.
Lilian Odera, KTN News in Nairobi.